Taha's been in Paris for I think the past 6-7 months, right? And something that we've talked about quite a bit that we haven't really talked about on the podcast is, the kind of people you've come across so far, and I think they're really interesting people. Like I know Famar, Rali, Deria, so I just, did I mispronounce that?
Yes, you
How
did.
did I mispronounce that?
It's Dheria, not
Deria?
Dheria. Dheria.
Deria.
Yes, correct.
Right. So they're really cool people, and I've had a chance to talk to them on call. But as someone who hangs out with them, Taha has also noted that they don't necessarily talk about things like colonialism or politics or racism or just these things in general, because they like to keep the conversation light. So tying into that, obviously your friends come from like a different cultural background, economical background, social background. So how do you think these things kind of play into their willingness or their ability to talk about these subjects from a neutral perspective?
From a neutral perspective, to have a neutral perspective, you need to understand where both parties are coming from. Agreed? I believe that a lot of people in my class currently are incapable of that, and it's not. I don't blame them for that. It's not their fault that they come from. To put it straight, from a better and sheltered life. I've come from, obviously I haven't had many hardships. मैं कोई मतलब कोई कहानी नहीं हूँ बहुत पुरानी कि भाई मैं बहुत दुश्वारियों के ज़रिए मैं पहुँचा हूँ यहाँ पे, ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है. But I have had my fair share of seeing things on both sides, on having the luxury and having the ability to experience luxury, and simultaneously what do you call that, feeling the other side of the coin too, when it comes to either it may be poverty or classism or racism, anything you might call it. I have experienced that, and in fact I have known people who are very close to me experience that, and I don't think that's the same story for everybody there. Now the thing is that many people in my class, like I stated before, they come from a very sheltered background. People from Germany, they come from a very sheltered.
Madeline. Shout out to Madeline.
They come from a very sheltered background. They don't understand what they're saying and why they're saying is wrong. They don't understand the degree of their faults.
But don't you necessarily think that at the end of the day, they are like 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds, and you're 23, right? So there's clearly like a range of like development that they've surpassed. So aren't they adult enough to kind of like know these things by now?
You're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, they obviously think that. Dekho, I won't include Theria in this, or any of the
And Dheria's Indian, by the way.
Yeah, any of the Indians, in fact, because like Indian or Pakistani culture to a large extent is similar.
Yeah, I think with our culture, at least South Asian culture, the problem is that you can't, not problem per se, but it's just that the line between your shelteredness and like reality doesn't really exist, because in every facet of your life you are experiencing what it is to live in the real world.
No, I'm sorry, I disagree with that. You see people at Habib.
Okay, fair enough, yeah. Fair enough. But then these are also people who have the luxury of like going abroad and like इनके holidays होते हैं. I'm not, and also the fact that you're not talking about a massive proportion of the population.
You're right. I'm not talking about a massive proportion. I'm talking about it from perspective of the people who are my classmates.
They're not also the massive proportion of the population.
No, I'm sorry, but I consider myself very lucky financially. Allah ka shukr, alhamdulillah, that I was lucky enough to have someone who was financially very sensible, and Allah has blessed us a lot.
Shout out to my parents.
Similarly, वहाँ पर जितने लोग हैं, वो सब financially काफ़ी stable. So they do not cover the majority of people.
But do you think that is a contributor to why they're so far removed from reality?
Yeah, money.
Could you elaborate on that?
Okay. In Pakistan, I'll give you an example of people you know. Habib में जितने आप लोगों को जानते हो, आप दो तरह के लोगों को जानते हो, एक हैं जो बहुत अमीर हैं, एक हैं जो मिडिल क्लास हैं, और कुछ लोग हैं जो बिलो द मिडिल क्लास, लोअर क्लास में फाइनेंशियली सोली ऑन फाइनेंशियल बेसिस अकाउंट होते हैं, राइट। अमीर लोग ऐसे हैं जिनको जो इतने शेल्टर्ड हैं, उनको कुछ फ़र्क नहीं पड़ा पाकिस्तान के करंट हालात से, उनको कुछ फ़र्क नहीं पड़ा पाकर कि भाई मुल्क डूब रहा है नहीं डूब रहा, वो अपनी हाईलेक्स के अंदर उतना ही डीजल डलवा रहे हैं जितना वो 5 साल पहले डलवा रहे थे। क्यों? बिकॉज दे आर अनअवेयर। वाई आर दे अनअवेयर? बिकॉज दे डोंट सी द नीड टू बी अवेयर ऑफ दिस। अ मिडिल क्लास पर्सन हाउ विल रियलाइज कि भाई मेरे लिए बहुत मैंडेटरी है कि मैं जानूँ कि कितना खर्चा कहाँ हो रहा है, कब हो रहा है, क्यों हो रहा है, क्योंकि वो उसके जो 5 साल के पहले जो हालात थे वो अब नहीं हालात, ठीक है। तो इन टर्म्स ऑफ दैट आई जेन्युइनली फील कि ऑब्वियसली क्लास डिवीजन एग्जिस्ट करता है, और मनी इस तरह आपको शेल्टर करता है, क्योंकि जब आपके पास पैसा होता है, और स्पेशली पैसा जिसके लिए आपने मेहनत नहीं करी थी, मैं इसके अंदर अपने आप को भी अकाउंट करता हूँ डेफिनेटली, आपको अंदाज़ा नहीं रहता है कि आप पैसा किस तरह गंवा रहे हो, कहाँ खर्च कर रहे हो। जब खुद कमाने लगते हो तो आपको एहसास होता है कि अरे यार भाई मैंने इतना खरीदा है, किस तरह गायब हो गए। एंड इसी वजह से आपको ज़रूरत नहीं मालूम पड़ती कि क्यों चीज़ें महंगी हो रही है, कहाँ महंगी हो रही हैं। ये शेल्टरनेस वहीं से आती है। अब जहाँ अब हम वापस आते हैं ओरिजिनल टॉपिक पे, जो आपने मुझे पूछा था कि आप क्यों लगता है कि इनका न्यूट्रल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू नहीं हो सकता, ये बात क्यों नहीं करते इन पॉलिटिक्स के बारे में?
To be honest, I'd like to rephrase what I said. I don't necessarily think it is possible to view something from complete neutrality. I think, in a way, I'm kind of asking why there isn't this awareness of your own biases. Ke regardless from whatever socio-economic background you're coming from, as long as you're able to be aware of your biases, you're able to surpass them and achieve some level of neutrality, because total neutrality is impossible. Now,
एक मिनट, I'm sorry to interrupt you. You said aware of your biases, right?
Are they aware of their biases?
They aren't. That's what sheltered means.
No, we agree to that, but like I was just correcting my own stance. कि मैंने बोला था कि why can't they achieve neutrality? I don't necessarily mean neutrality here. I was just correcting it for the sake of the conversation.
Sorry, misunderstood.
No, but you can continue. कि sure they aren't aware of it, but then what's stopping them from, like, you can't say awareness does not conflate with eagerness to have a conversation. So where does this discomfort to have these conversations stem from?
Okay. First of all, this is going to be quite a long debate, but first of all, the fact is that in France you can't talk about politics generally in public.
Oh, right.
First rule, it's a rule of law there, so you can't. But chalo, aap har waqt, when you're classmates, you're not always in a public setting, you're in a private setting too. Now, when it comes to the fact that you क्यों बात नहीं कर सकते, why are you so visibly uncomfortable, is that because almost all of us have some form of alternating views on the same topic.
Agreed.
Let's take, for example, religion. Let's take Islam particularly. The person Madeline that I talked about earlier, she's from Germany. She is unconsciously racist. Unconsciously racist. For example, she very previously asked me a question: would you force a woman to wear a hijab?
Did she ask any of the other Muslim men?
She didn't ask any other Muslim men that. Again.
And isn't Raleigh a Muslim man?
He is, but I'll move on to later. I genuinely believe that she is unconsciously racist. I use unconsciously because I don't think a person in this time can be so overtly racist, use such overtly racist terms of speech.
Oh, so you think it comes from a place of like not knowing anybody?
Exactly, it comes from a place of not knowing anybody at all, or not knowing anything at all. And I think that when it comes to Raleigh and the other students there, other Muslim students there are very few practicing Muslims there. Well, actually, all of them are practicing Muslims. I'm sorry, I would like to retract that. All of them are practicing Muslim, but there are different degrees of practicing. And everybody's faith is their own personal decision, right? So some people drink, some people don't drink, some people take what do you say, कुछ लोग रोज़ा रखते हैं, कुछ लोग नहीं रखते, सबको होता है. लेकिन जहाँ मैं रेसिज्म की स्टेम की बात कर रहा हूँ, it obviously accounts for the place of origin you're coming from. I'm coming from Pakistan, which is known to be a third world country, and obviously with our amazing Western media, the way Pakistan is portrayed, it's as if we're all living under some brick houses, right? So on that basis, तो वो एक racism वहाँ से भी stem होता है. And that's why Raleigh, who is a Moroccan, which is basically like the Europe of Africa, वहाँ से आया है, तो उससे ये सवालात नहीं पूछे जाते. तो पहली बात तो ये कि सबके बहुत alternating opinions होते हैं. दूसरी let me finish. I'm sorry to interrupt, but तो ऑल्टरनेटिव ओपिनियंस होते हैं, तो उस पर सब पे अग्री करना एक मुश्किल होता है. लेकिन मसला ये है कि वो अपने ओपिनियंस को डिफेंड नहीं कर सकते. That is the reason the debate does not initiate, because a lot of people know that what they're saying is wrong. A lot of people know that what they might say might not be accepted, but the fact is that they don't want to explain or want to defend because they're unable to defend their own decisions.
I mean, if there is comfort in saying something out loud, then clearly it's not a matter of being able to defend it. It is within the opinion itself.
Exactly. They might know. So basically, you're trying to say that they might know that this opinion is wrong, that this particular statement is wrong. For example, saying that people should stay in their home countries. I'm just giving an example. That opinion on itself is wrong, right? But people still believe in it. A lot of people are unable to defend it, and that's why they don't talk about it out loud. So the entire fact is कि like neutrality इसलिए नहीं आ सकती क्योंकि लोगों को अपना बायस तो पता नहीं है कि वो किस बायस से आ रहे हैं, लेकिन जिनको पता भी उनको पता है कि उनका बायस गलत है. अगर मुझे पता है, देखो मैं सच्ची बताऊँ, मैं बहुत शेल्टर्ड इंसान हूँ, मैंने ज़िंदगी में कुछ बुराइयाँ नहीं देखी, फैक्ट्स, सच्ची सी बात है. लेकिन मुझे पता है कि मैं शेल्टर्ड हूँ, तो आई नो कि यार अगर मैं किसी चीज़ को ओपिनियन स्टेट कर रहा हूँ तो वो ओपिनियन किसी और बंदे के पर्सपेक्टिव से गलत इसलिए हो सकता है सोली बिकॉज उनका एक्सपीरियंस डिफरेंट रहा हो. एंड एक्सपीरियंस काउंट्स फॉर अ लॉट. अब इन लोग मेजॉरिटी लोगों ने बहुत सी चीज़ें एक्सपीरियंस नहीं की, जैसे पॉलिटिक्स के बारे में उनको नो हाउ नहीं है क्योंकि लाइक ऐसे उनको जानने की ज़रूरत महसूस नहीं होती. दे डोंट फील लाइक इट्स इंपॉर्टेंट टू नो अबाउट दिस स्टफ.
Right, and just like talking about this, well, I'm just rephrasing, not neutrality, but more like this awareness of your biases. How do you think politically, not politically, sure, yeah, politically, how does, as a state, how does France politically allow for the space to have these conversations when, like you said, okay, there's a ban on talking about politics, religion, or anything that actually might trigger some form of discomfort?
Okay, the thing is that in France, I have been living there for about maybe 8 months.
Yeah.
In total 8 months, because okay, so let's take 10 months actually. Let's take 10 months into equation. I've been living there for 10 months and मैंने ये देखा है कि people don't care enough to talk about politics. And the thing is that when you talk about French tradition, you talk about the value of life. Politics, religion, all create negative emotions, pessimistic attitudes towards life. Specifically politics, it does create negative emotions. If many of you don't know, if you don't know right now, which I think, but actually you do, the fact that Paris में अभी बहुत strikes चल रही हैं.
Yeah, because of the retirement age,
yeah,
right?
They extended the retirement age merely 2 years. Merely 2 years. Why are people hating on that so much? Is because
कोई benefits, state benefits नहीं मिलेंगे once you retire.
No, state benefits का मसला नहीं है.
It is about state benefits.
No, that's not the sole reason. It's even deeper. It is rooted within their culture. Their culture celebrates life generally कि भाई हमें अपना बुढ़ापा सेलिब्रेट करना है. हमारे लिए हमारी ज़िंदगी का रहना, हमारा लाइफस्टाइल, ये ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट है rather than how much we are earning for my job. हम ऐसा पाकिस्तानी हमारा इंपॉर्टेंट क्या है, मैं जॉब में कितने पैसे कमा रहा हूँ, चाहे दिन के मैं कितने घंटे सो रहा हूँ. फॉर देम इट्स लाइक मैं घंटे कितने दिन के सो रहा हूँ और जॉब में कितने पैसे कमा रहा हूँ.
नहीं, but I completely disagree with you there, because if it's about quality of life and the retirement age is being extended 2 years, then what's the issue with quitting? Clearly, and I don't mean quitting negatively. Quitting can also mean, when you have a really, really exhausting job or a really tough boss and you need that space from your work life, so you quit in order to benefit your own mental health, right? So what is stopping them from saying, okay, you know what, now is the time where I want to live my life, so I'm going to resign, quit, and then proceed to live my life? Clearly,
surprise. Clearly
no, but clearly there has to be, some sort of incentive कि नहीं, we need to decrease retirement age so that we can attain those benefits.
Okay, 2 things. First of all, we all know that finances is not something easily acquired. So quitting, while it might be an option for some, for people who are working government jobs like sanitary, for example, the sanitation department, where you're basically picking up garbage, or anything like that, which are very minimum wage paying jobs, you don't have an option for quitting. Anywhere in the world, this rule is international, that when you're working a job like that, you don't necessarily have an option of quitting. Secondly, and based on that, you work till you retire so that you can be awarded with a pension. If you quit,
Yeah,
you're
that's
not
what I'm
awarded
saying.
with a
You
pension.
are, like, I don't necessarily. So I just want to clarify. I'm not really disagreeing with you, but I'm not agreeing with you in the sense that you're saying it's embedded into this culture, this love of life. If the love of life was that strong, then they just wouldn't care about money.
No, but like the thing is that money is simultaneously essential.
Yeah, so then
Capitalism is rooted in all of our lives.
No, so you can't necessarily then say, okay, oh, it's embedded into their culture. No. At the end of the day, it is a monetary issue, and then culture plays like a secondary part to it.
Granted, primary issue is money, because pension, definitely. Who wouldn't like to get pension 2 years early than the
Agreed.
current retirement age? Who
Yeah,
wouldn't?
agreed.
Everybody would love that. That is true, but what I'm saying is that while it is a primary reason, there is a secondary reason for that too. The thing is that the current president, I forgot his name, of France, he decided this rule to be employed, and
By decree, right?
by decree, and they have this rule in the constitution that by decree the president can instate any law. Now the fact of the matter is, like, I was reading up on this, and like one of the articles, actually few articles stated about how life is important, how living your life is important for the French people, and how the president has completely missed out on that. He's completely missed out on that.
No, like before you go on, like why do you think he needed to, for something like a retirement age extending 2 years, right? Why do you think he needed to implement that through decree and not through Congress vote? Is it Congress?
I have
Yeah.
in all honesty, I do not know the answer to that, because obviously I don't know French politics a lot, well, at least not right now. But the fact is that from what I did find out was that because it is a democracy, they need votes from people, and if the cabinet approved of those votes of this particular law, they would lose that vote. This is what my common sense is dictating me to do.
Yeah,
to say.
definitely.
Right? That's why the president made a decree about this. That is what I think happened. Yeah, and coming back to living life, right? I'm surprised when you said that why didn't they just quit?
Right. Oh wait. Okay.
Well,
No.
the the thing is that, well, two reasons I'm surprised. First of all, in Europe currently right now, in the specific industry I am working in, there is a deficit of workers. They need workers. Post COVID, almost every industry experienced a deficit of workers because they decided that the way they were living was very bad, the way they were working was very bad. They wanted better working conditions, and it's in fact called the Great Resignation. Yes, it's called the Great Resignation for a reason, because people resigned right, left, and center because they realized that they deserved better. And the industry that I'm studying in right now has faced the same issue, and it's still facing the issue because the working hours of the industry I'm working in is very complicated. You are working from the evening up until to like the early hours of the morning, or from late afternoon to the late evening. So they're very different working hours. But based on that particular thing, I feel like that's why life is considered more important there.
You know, there's a lot more I want to say, and I wish I had the time to say it. There's a few things I disagree with you on, but if you're interested in finding that out, you can tune in next week, right? I always enjoy disagreeing with you because I feel like some of our ideas about life in general stem from those conversations.
Definitely.
And I look forward to having more with you. That's Taha, I'm Brittany, and we will see you next time.